Hello, I'm Chris Williams, and I'm back with another review. This time we're reviewing Major X Issue 3. And we'll start off by the cover, which is again made by Rob Liefeld. I'm pretty sure this is a good cover. Let's see. It has Deadpool, Cable, and McCoy, while Major X stands on top of them. And they are all aligned in a big X with a lightning strike making the X. It's a good cover, but it is a bit bland. Once again, we have a static shock of Major X just standing about. While we have the other three, their heads aligned in the portions of X where the lightning bolt splits them all into different portions. Though with the part with Major X, we can see a bit of the existential behind him. And we start out with the first page with McCoy and Wolverine doing a bit of training in the danger room while they wait for Cable and Major X to return from Graymalkin. The artwork this time was made by Wallace Potitio. And this is really good artwork by him. I'm glad he's contributing to this series. It's really good. I've seen better artwork from Wallace Potitio, but this is good. I'm really enjoying particularly the fight between Wolverine going up against McCoy here. McCoy basically being wrestling Wolverine around and tossing him around around the way the Beast usually does. But before Wolverine uses his claws to slow himself down and then kick McCoy in the face. But as they're fighting, a light suddenly appears behind them, and guess what? Cable and Major X return, rather with being wet and soggy, having gotten themselves out of Graymalkin as it exploded. They look fine, but just wet and drenched, and Wolverine and McCoy comment on that. And they come back and they say, and we're through back home. While Cable says, barely. Now, a little while later, Cable messes with with the devices they were able to get from Graymalkin, and he says, you only get 2 more jumps, 1 per slider. No second chances. You hit your mark or it's game over. This is what he tells to both of them. And Major X and McCoy just grimly nod their heads. The rendition Wallace Potitio did of Cable here is really good. And we switch over to the Atlantic Ocean. Far below the surface lies the undersea kingdom of Atlantis. This can't be the modern 616 version of Atlantis, because this is where the 3 Atlantean super soldiers were headed after having just blown up Graymalkin. As I said, this can't be Namor's Atlantis, because this Atlantis is ruled by Namor and Laura. And the 3 super soldiers enter the royal throne room, and they address Princess Laura. And she asks, and Graymalkin was destroyed? And they say yes, and what about Cable and Major X? Apparently, they realize they must have seen Cable and Major X body slide out of Graymalkin before they escaped themselves. And she says impossible that they survived, and they nod that they have failed her and they're willing to take any punishment she gives. She slaps them around and saying, we betrayed the existential, and we betrayed Major X so we could give a future to our people. And you have done and put that future in jeopardy. She's angry at them, and she's about ready to order the royal guards to kill them. And all she can do is just storm off angry. And the 3 soldiers have nothing to say for themselves but grimly accept any punishment she'll hand out to them. Later on, Cable, giving a final greeting to his son as Major X is about to body slide and travel through time with McCoy as they try to rescue the essential so they can save their world, the existence. The artwork here by Wallace Pachero is particularly good. It's good to see artwork, and this is a particularly good story by Rob Liefeld. It's not too deep, it's not too raw, too good. It's just a good, decent story, and it really gives me a good feeling inside. And Wolverine asks Cable what's next, and they say they locate the X-Sentinel and protect him at all costs, even if it requires the ultimate sacrifice. He says, I'll be there for him when he needs me. I've seen to eventually. Well, Major X and McCoy body slide, teleport to be exact, to Cape Elizabeth, Maine at midnight. They are years into the future. They are at the birthplace where their leader, the Essential, was born. This lighthouse is actually an entrance way to a secret underground base, and they enter it, and they try not to be noticed. But unfortunately, the other Deadpool that appeared in issue 1, he says, hello, known travelers inform the administrator we have company. He says the Deadpool orders his men to go and tell his boss. The boss is, of course, the administrator. That's actually his name, the administrator. It's not bad. It's funny. It's just funny that it's so bland. That makes it actually good. McCoy and Major X stumble upon a bunch of mutant children who are being experimented on. A young boy is crying out no as a bunch of robotic arms are about to start operating on him. McCoy can't take this much longer, and he bursts out of the hiding place he was in and out through a window. He then commences to start attacking the doctors who are just experimenting on these poor mutant kids. And he says, "Get away from him, butcher!" "What sort of man harms helpless children?" he says, as he gropes the doctor by the throat, lifting him straight into the air, ready to kill this guy. And this, of course, alerts everyone in the base. They were already known, but it does alert anyone who was in that room that they have been infiltrated by intruders. And then, alternate Deadpool attacks with a couple of mutant super soldiers that the base had been able to produce. We have one called Megamax, Pigskin, and other characters that have been created for this series. They don't say much in this, and they're mostly just saying horrible, dreadful things when they go up against Major X and McCoy. Stuff you'd hear out of any action or horror movie. And Major X pulls out his guns and starts shooting them. He says, "History records you all as filth products of a mutagenic manipulation gone terribly away," as he fires at the super soldiers attacking him. Meaning that these guys were artificially created mutants that were produced as weapons to be used as a product by the American government. I'm assuming whoever runs this installation is subject to the American government. Then Deadpool begins to fight Major X. He pulls out a sword and starts swinging it at him. He kicks him in the chest, and then he takes the sword. He tries to swing for Major X's head, and all we have is Major X and Deadpool grimly staring each other down. And this is good artwork. I'm really enjoying Rob Liefeld's story here. It's a good story, and we finally get a look at the boss, the administrator himself. He's just a big red and metal covered badass. I say he's a badass. We don't know really anything about him. But he's the head of this facility, and he has the Essential right there. He orders the Essential to bring down Major X and McCoy, and both of them have fallen to their knees as the Essential uses his powers to drive them to the floor. And the administrator says that the Essential is his pupil, the Essential, and that he is proud of what his what his pupil has done by bringing both the Major X and McCoy down. And this is where the issue ends, with the both stalwart heroes looking up, wondering what to do next as they have to fight the man they came to protect. And this is how the issue ends. It ends on a good cliffhanger here. And this issue basically uplifts me. It really left me with a good feeling, unlike other issues like Uncanny X-Men 17 or Female Furies 4 or or Next Gen. This left me with a really good feeling. This is the reason why this issue and a lot of the Major X issues have sold out. Particularly, I've heard this issue 3, sold out, and Marvel is producing a second printing of this issue. This issue was good, and I would say it's well worth the price to pay for it. Now, if you like this review, subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that bell and leave a like, and leave some comments down below. And remember to check out future videos, because remember, I'm going to produce my own independent comic book, Scumdogs. So check back in future reviews for more news. I'm Chris Williams, and I'm signing out.